Hey there folks, and welcome back to Space Engineers Survival. Unfortunately this week I'm incredibly busy with work, so I can't make a full episode where we do a user request, but I really did just want to make an episode to show you what they've updated in the game and what I've been doing in this world. So let's take a look around, shall we? The first thing that I've done is I've added 3 more arc furnaces, or blast furnaces as they're called, and I have made another hopper here as well. Before it was hooked up to this hopper system, but everything automatically went in the refineries, so now I have a separate hopper system that has some tubes and conveyors, and they distribute into the blast furnaces as such. So if I have my ship and I'm just doing a whole bunch of iron that I'm mining, I can just drop everything in here. That's the only major change I've made to this base. Some of the things that they have done in the update is they have allowed you to make lights blink, and I'm going to show you how exactly. So if we go into, well, any command console, and we go to the control panel, we'll find some interior lights. Now you'll see that they have blink interval, blink length, and offset. The interval is how long the lights blink for, or I'm sorry, that's how often it blinks. That's the length of the blink, so how long it stays lit, and that's another parameter you can change. And I have done that so that the little rave cave has a little bit more of a dance theme to it. Oh yeah. And you can set up all sorts of lights to blink, and you can set them up to actually serve a use other than, you know, just make a cool little dance room with strobe lights. But I didn't do that. Alright, another thing that they have done, let's see here, they have added the cool new sensor block, which we will take a look at because I have finished our welding ship. And I incorporated both a sensor block and a camera block in it. However, they're not working, or I haven't figured out how to make them work the way that I want them to yet. But the way that this is going to work is the sensor is going to detect a large ship in front of where we're going to be welding, and it will automatically turn on our welders. So that's the idea behind having a sensor right here, and you can adjust the sensor depth, width, and height just like you can a gravity generator field. So that's pretty cool. There are also a whole bunch of parameters you can use for using sensor blocks. Also, we have a camera block here. The reason we have a camera block here is because when you're welding, you can get pretty close to things, and I want to see exactly how close we're getting. I mean, sure, the cockpit's pretty close, but when you have a camera in the middle of everything, you'll be able to see things quite well. And let's take a look around. We also have the piston with the connector. We also have access to all sides of the cargo container, even the bottom. And we also have the nuclear reactor. It's a little bit exposed, but we're saving on parts because we don't have that much at the moment. And this is not a ship we're going to be taking into combat, and it's probably not a ship that's going to get banged around either. Unlike the grinding ship can sometimes get a little bit dented, this one I don't think will. And we also have fewer engines on the back because when we have 4 engines going forward, we also have 4 engines going in reverse. We have 2 engines sideways and 2 engines up and 2 engines down. And the reason we don't need so many engines like we have on the Ripsaw is because the Ripsaw, first off, is a lot heavier, and secondly, when we're welding things, we don't want to break the blocks that we're welding by running into them too fast, so it's going to be a little bit slower of a ship, but it's going to weld things awful quick. And some of you might be concerned that there's not a welder here, so I'm not going to be able to weld anything. Well, these welders have a radius at which they weld, so even if there's a small block in the center right here, it will still get welded because these are close enough that they will all weld where this camera block is, so that will not be an issue at all. And these all connect up to this cargo container, so we will load the cargo container. You know, I said this wouldn't get dented, and it's already dented. Way to go, me. Alright. So we would load stuff into the cargo container via connector, and then that would automatically feed into our welders via conveyors. So that's pretty awesome. We can take it for a spin, so I think we should do that. We'll take a look at the workings that we've done to it with the camera and sensors. So let's turn the ship on and release the landing gear. Also, if you saw, yes, we still have the landing gear down there. That's so we can dock it to some stuff. Alright, let's just take it for a little ride. As you can see, it's pretty slow. It has 3 gyroscopes, which is more than enough. And it's not, I mean, it's not the slowest ship I've ever built, but it's certainly not the quickest. Alright, and let's go over here and pretend to weld this little pillar over here, and we'll show you how the camera and sensors work. Right now I just have them hooked up to my hotbar, however, I can have them automated with my sensors. So let's go to our control panel. Right now I have a weld group which has all of my welders, so as soon as we toggle this on, all of our welders should turn on. However, for some reason one of my welders does not turn on, despite the fact all of them being selected. Couldn't tell you why that happens, but it does. Unless there's one welder that's not in the group for some reason. Anywho, this is the sensor, and right now we have it detecting floating objects, small ships, and large ships. We have the extent at which it will detect things, and I found this is a good thing that well, it's a good setup for that. And here's the setup action. You can pretty much drag any single item into these blocks here. So say you want the spotlight to turn on, toggle on. As soon as something gets within range, it will start to turn on. See? Yep, see? Turned on. However, there's another weird bug. For some reason, my ship is rotating, and I'm not doing that at all, so I'm slightly concerned. I think it might just be a bug in the past update, but you can see we're slowly rotating, despite the fact we have 3 gyroscopes, which should be keeping us pretty still. Anywho, let's go back to here. We can go back to the auto detect, which is usually just set up as sensor, but we can also set up different actions like, say, welding, toggle on and off, and I'll show you what I mean with everything. Actually, it seems to be working better than before. Nope, still not working. Anyhow, let's take a look at some other things. Here we have the camera, which we can view, so we can get a very nice close view of what we're going to be welding. Unfortunately, we can't control the ship while we're in the view mode, but that's fine. Whoops. How do I get out of my view mode? There we go. Ooh, panicked there for a bit. For some reason, we're still rotating. I wonder if that has anything to do with the sensor. Oh, no wonder it wasn't working. It's not toggled on. Herp derp derp. Alright, now let's go into an outside view and see if they will detect things. Okay, now let's go in here, control panel, auto detect, setup action, toggle welder, on off, or how about toggle welder on? As you can see, one of my welders always turns on. Oop, oop, oh, uh-oh, getting too close because this ship is rotating for some strange reason. If you guys have an answer to why this is rotating, that would be awesome to let me know. But Well, I think that's going to be it for showing you what this thing can do until we figure out why this thing stops, or why this thing likes to rotate so much. So, what we're going to do is we are going to try to park it on that pillar. Oop, nope, don't rotate that way. There we go. Oop, there we go. Burn down a little bit. Oop. And getting close, getting close. Uh-oh, doesn't really want to auto-detect right now. Go to the landing gear. Lock. Apparently the landing gear is damaged. Nope, there it is. Ooh, for some reason it didn't want to lock before. Anyhow, I think I should probably turn this off, otherwise it'll try to stay rotating. And maybe that's something to do with the gyroscopes. I don't know. I didn't adjust anything with the gyroscope, so I don't see why they would automatically start rotating. Unless that's a default feature now, but that would be weird. Alright. And I'll show you the other thing that I've done before we call this short little update a close. Last time you saw the mining carriage was in a bit of a rough shape because I decided to have some fun with it on the live stream, shooting it and whatnot. Or wait, was that an episode that I decided to shoot it? I can't quite remember. Anyhow, I decided to add a couple blocks to it, some merge blocks, so it's merged onto that. I really didn't have to add any engines. Actually, I did have to add 2 engines right there, so it could have all maneuvering engines. But other than that, it's pretty much as we left it. I repaired a couple blocks, not that it really matters, because we're going to be destroying that, or the ripsaw is going to have its way with it fairly soon. And we're going to be doing the same thing with the private sale, so I put a little extender there with a merge block on the private sale, and we're going to get some parts from that then. So that's going to be in the next upcoming episode as soon as I have time to record a full episode. So that'll be it for this short little update. Thank you folks for watching. Keep the suggestions coming, and I will see you guys next time.